Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. I want to thank you all for joining us today. My name is Harisuddin. I'm the sergeant at arms for the club, meaning I have the opportunity to come early and help set up and do a couple of different things here. I'm also today's Toastmaster. So we've gone ahead and we have printed agendas here for everyone. For those of you that are online, I'll share the agenda, or maybe Brother Asa can take a picture of it and put it in the group. But to start off with, we usually have an inspirational thought or the recitation of the Quran. Because we have a couple of new members here, I'll just go ahead and I'll do the inspirational thought. So one of the hadiths that I was thinking about was إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, which is a part of a hadith, and it said actions are based on your intentions. So when I woke up this morning, I was thinking, it's a dreary day, it's hard to get out of bed, but I'll go ahead and at least I'll come to the masjid, we'll get some donuts. Half the coastal family works at Jewel, so we should be able to get something, but I come here, there's nothing here. So at least I have my own coffee, that's good. But we'll be able to learn a few good things. I was looking through Brother Asad's presentation, and then our new member, Brother Mohiuddin, he's going to be talking about himself for 5 to 7 minutes. So we've got a good program set up, and then we'll cap it off with the Salat al-Zuhr. So inshallah, we'll get rewarded for this, and we'll walk away with learning something as well. The president intro is next. So Brother Asad, if I could have you come up here and do a little intro and tell us a little bit about the club. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I'm glad everyone is here. I hope all your families are healthy and safe. Inshallah, we're going to have a very productive meeting, and I just want to stay on schedule. So I'm looking forward to the feedback from our new members, inshallah. So please evaluate us critically. We'll see you shortly. Assalamu alaikum.
If you guys see me talking up here and you see someone that says admit, who's been waiting for a while, let us know and we'll admit them. It's this new feature in Zoom where it enables a waiting room and everyone has to be admitted. But we'll work through some of these issues, inshallah. So we have a couple of guests with us today. One already got assigned the task. So Anas, let's give him a round of applause. You don't have to come up here right now. But Anas is, he's going to do our word of the day. I already talked to him about how to do that. And Farhan is a longtime member. He's finally back. He's going to do our joke of the day. So I'm excited to hear the joke that he prepared for us. And actually, that's next on our agenda. You ready, Farhan?
Yeah.
All right, come on up here. While you're up here, you guys can take your masks off.
So everyone, my name is Farhan, and I'll be the joker for the day, I guess. So the joke for the day is NASA was preparing for the Apollo project. So when NASA was preparing for the project, several training of the astronauts took place on a Navajo reservation. One day, the elderly man and his son were herding the sheep and came across a space crew, sorry. The old man, who spoke only Navajo, asked a question to his son, translated, "What are these guys in the big suit doing?" A member of the crew said they were practicing for their trip to the moon. The old man got all excited and asked if he could send a message to the moon with the astronaut. Recognizing a promotion opportunity, the NASA folks found a tape recorder. After the old man recorded his message, they asked his son to translate it. He refused. The NASA PR people brought the tape to the reservation where the rest of the tribe listened and left, but refused to translate the other message. Finally, the NASA crew called an official government translator. The translator of the old man message was out of this guy, they have come to steal your land.
Thank you, Farhan. So the Navajo guy wrote a message to the moon, watch out, these guys might steal your land. The NASA guy. Very good, thank you, Farhan. And this is one of the ways that if you don't have a formal speech prepared and you still want to come up here and get used to speaking in front of an audience, this is one way to do it. And now we're going to introduce, the reason we have Joke Master and Joke of the Day is because a lot of times you're in meetings, you're in class, it can get really boring. And what the founder of Toastmasters figured out was when you're having fun, you're more enjoyable, there's a better chance for you to learn. And so that's what we always try to do, have some jokes at the beginning of the meeting, make it more enjoyable. I'm sure some of you have been in hour-long meetings, multiple hour-long meetings, and been like, what am I doing with my life? So we're also here to learn, and so we're going to learn a new word of the day, and it's going to be provided by one of the younger brothers, Brother Anas. Come on up here.
So the word of the day is munafiq. It is whenever he speaks, he lies. Whenever he promises, he always breaks his promise. And if you trust him, he's dishonest, or he proves to be dishonest.
That's wonderful. You said that in English. What does that mean in English? Huh? Isn't it?
So, thank you very much, Anas, for being voluntold and coming up here and doing it. So the word of the day is munafiq, means hypocrite in English, as Sheikh Ibrahim was telling us. And we want to try and use this word when we're doing table topics or other things when we're up here speaking. And this is one of the things that we do with this club that's specific to ICW is we try and add some things that we can learn and not just have a good time. So, these are 3 categories or 3 things we want to try and avoid. When we speak, we want to say the truth. We make a promise, we want to keep it. And of course, if someone trusts us with something, we want to honor that trust and fulfill it. So Jazakallah khair on us for doing that. Thank you. So let's fill out the rest of this agenda. I need a timer. Farhan, can you be the timer? Okay, so the first speech is going to be 5 to 7 minutes, right? Mohyuddin, how long are you speaking for?
3 hours.
Mohyuddin, can you hear me? How long is your speech?
Yeah, brother.
5 to 7 minutes, right?
What is it? Didn't get you.
How long is your speech for?
No, speech will be not more than 3 minutes actually. Yeah.
Okay, so let's do 5 to 7, Farhan. Here's the thing.
Can I go ahead?
No, not yet. We're still preparing.
Okay. So
Green is at 5 minutes. And then the second speaker is Brother Asad. His speech is 25 minutes. So at 23 minutes, show him the green, 24 show him the yellow, and 25 show him the red. Sorry? Mohyuddin. So his speech is 5 to 7 minutes. All right, and we don't have a third speaker. Would anyone like to speak? We got a slot open, 5 to 7 minutes. Maybe someone who does a khatara every week, like to try a little bit out on it. No, you're tired of speaking? Okay, if you change your mind, let us know. Brother Ayman, would you like to speak at all? Maybe learn a little bit about you?
Thank you.
No? All right, we'll see. I'll come back to you. You warm up to him a little bit. All right, what's it? Umair? No? You're good?
You know got something to say.
All right, I need a general evaluator, someone that can evaluate the entire meeting. Umair, can you do that for us? Okay, perfect. And then an evaluator for our Brother Mohyuddin's speech. Oh, Sheikh Ibrahim, you can evaluate his speech? Okay. And the second evaluator, you want to evaluate Brother Asad's speech? Perfect, okay. So let's write that down. So this is the evaluation form for the brother, and this is the evaluation form for Asad. And I'll get you something to hold on to. Oh, you got it. Oh, perfect. And then we needed someone to count our ahs and ums. Want to try it on us? Okay. So if we're saying ah or 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 we're up here, we're stuttering and keep track of that and let us know how many times we said that. And I think that's everything. We've got our agenda filled out now. We'll start off with our first speaker. He is our newest member. He's one of our Tamil brothers. Brother Riaz either convinced him to join or made him join, I'm not sure. which one, but he's he's our newest member, and we're excited to hear from him. Brother Moyuddin, go ahead.
Hello. Assalamu alaikum. Are you able to hear me? Hello.
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah. So actually, it's a kind of icebreaker speech, but I'm not that much prepared well. But as what I get to know from icebreaker speak, I have to tell about myself. So Alhamdulillah, I have been in the US for the past 7 years. I came on 2012. From there, I am in the around of Chicago land. But the icebreaker topic, what I am going to talk about is.
Hey, Moyuddin, 1 second. Is there any way you could speak up a little bit more?
Yeah.
Coming from him, it's not coming from here, because
Yeah.
he's using the mobile.
Oh,
So
all right. Yeah, you can join that.
what is the link?
Here, let me try. It's 568-197-4584.
Can you send the link?
Yeah, oh, here, you know what? I can try it on here.
Okay.
Let me try it here. All right, Moyuddin, try now.
Yeah. Are you able to hear me? Hello. Hello.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think the voice is echoing, brother. Voice is echoing.
Okay, try it now.
Still, I'm getting the echo.
Go ahead, try now.
Yeah. Now it's okay, I think. Is it okay now?
Try now.
Still getting the echoing, brother. You want me to reconnect again?
Yeah, just go ahead and start. I'll close the mic now.
Okay.
Go ahead,
okay.
brother.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. So the icebreaker topic, what I decided to go is, what is the topic I decided to go with this, on how I get my first job during my college days. So it was a long story, but I started into cut. I cut it into short, because if I go through it, it will be take more than 10 minutes. But anyhow, I'll give the summary of that one, how I got my first interview placed into the IT field. So I'm in the 4th year college. It was my final year. So during the time I am doing my project, I was in a different place. Then I came to the college where I have to give the Viva was. I mean, I have to explain the project and everything. So before one day of that one, I have got a message from my department HOD, who is he's a kind of director for that department. So he told there is a interview placement coming for the students who were got more than 73.5%. So I am also one of the nominate. I am also one of the selected person on that. So then we had a viva and interview on the same day, but I told them I'm not going to join to my representative. But my representative told, no, you got to come because we have to travel 100 kilometers from my college to attend the interview, which we can't able to go. So they booked the cab and they said we'll all will together and pitch in and then we'll go together. Then only you can afford it. Then I said, okay, let me also join. And then before one day of it, before one day of the viva the project is not working. So I have been into my friend's house to make sure that project is getting worked, to show that to demo to my external supervisor. But unfortunately, it went all the way down till 2 a.m. Then I came to my friend's room. I slept for 3 hours. Then I woke up. Then I did my fajr and then I went to my college. Then I get ready. Then I went for the viva. Along the viva, my project demo went well. Then suddenly they want to go to interview. So while going the interview, the last night I have not slept that much. So I'm going to I've told to my friends, guys, I'm going to sleep. I doesn't have to sleep that much. So they are all well preparing. They're doing like this and they're arguing like anything. So we went actually. So we went to the place. By the time they told, no, you guys are came late, so they are not allowing us to go inside to the hall, to the exam hall. Then my representative go and ask to the concerned person, no, we have to go because we came from project was. So we got to attend the interview. We came all the way down from 100 miles. They're like that. They told. Then they allowed us to go. So then when I went to exam hall, they allotted the seat, and then it took another 30 minutes to give the question paper to write it. By the time also I slept in the hall, but unfortunately, and my representative waken up me. Then he's told, hey, the paper is giving. Then it was a negative mark also there. So if I put if I attend any 8 question, if one question is wrong, the minus mark will be there applicable for that one. Then I wrote it. I only solved 7 questions. 7 out of 7 was correct by them. Then I went to the group discussion, and then finally in the group discussion also. In the group discussion on my batch we have 20 people, so they all well prepared. It looks like. So I was not that much prepared, but anyhow, I gave the topic for the group discussion. I told we can go this topic. So we went to the topic. They selected my topic. So I got selected on the group discussion because I actually participated that I selected the topic, and I concluded the group discussion as well. And then in the group discussion also, I was not that much hope that I will get selected, but alhamdulillah, I got selected, and then I went to final discussion. So in the late night, 10 o'clock, 10 p.m., they announced the result. Alhamdulillah, I got selected, and then to the in charge POC point of contact, I went to ask whether I got selected or not for 2 to 3 times. They said, yes, you are the one who selected. Then I alhamdulillah, after that I came to my hostel. The next day morning, I called my mom and said, I got selected for this company. She's not believing it. She told her, no, you are just telling like that. And she asked me roommates who was with me in hostel. They told, yes, he got selected. That's a story. Alhamdulillah, it's a really, with the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I got the job. That's it. Jazakallah khairan.
Now you guys can clap and he'll hear you. Go ahead, let's go. Give me a round of applause.
Jazakallah khair, brother Haris.
All right, Muhyiddin, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you. Yes, yes.
Okay, great. So, alhamdulillah, so that was the icebreaker speech about how Brother Muhyiddin got his first job. For the icebreaker speech, you can really give about anything that you want. It's about you. It's 4 to 6 minutes. It's to get you. It's your first speech in Toastmasters. And
yeah,
be comfortable up here.
Inshallah, I'll come next time. I'll come in person. I'll attend the meeting. Inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. Muhyiddin said next time he'll be here. So we meet on the 1st and 3rd Saturday of every month. We'll meet again.
Inshallah.
it'd be great. I've seen you here before many times, and so we'll see you here.
Yeah, I moved to Milwaukee, but I came back to Chicago. Inshallah, I'll join soon.
And then we have some younger folks here in the crowd as well. It's good for them to hear about how like the job selection process and how difficult that can be with all these tests and other things. So, Jazakallah khair. Our next speaker is Brother Asad Koshal. He's the president of our club, and he's going to be speaking about lessons from the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I went through some of his slides earlier. It seems like a very interactive exercise, so we're looking forward to it. And we're able, for those of you that are online, we are able to see you on the screen, on the big screen here. So if you want to participate, just raise your hand, unmute yourself. We want to do I think there's more of you online than there are actually at the masjid. So we'd love for you to participate. His presentations are very interactive. So without, Brother Asad, let's come on up here. Yeah, no, that's true.
So I sent Umair to get wipes to wipe the microphone.
Yes, that's good.
So he'll be back in a second.
Okay, you can use this one then.
Oh, okay. All right, that's all that issue.
We got multiple mics, not all of them work.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay, inshallah. Bismillah.
Can someone swap show us the presenter view? Because right now we're seeing what the next slide is and stuff.
That works?
Yeah, but now it's like that on the TV. So.
Okay. No, but you can see the slide, right?
We can see the slides, yeah.
Okay. So, inshallah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Oh, 1 second. So how do you do it, Uzair?
So exit the presentation.
Okay.
So once you hit escape, it should. Okay. And
No.
then try clicking present again.
I was going to do play from current slide.
Yeah.
All right.
Click on the little 3 dots right there.
Okay.
Click on swap displays. Okay. Now click use slideshow.
Perfect. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, inshallah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So I already got and it's a technology, it's not, okay? Okay, inshallah, Bismillah ar-Rahim. No, now I can. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Usually I dive right in, even if the slides are not ready. But today, this is a little bit really, I spent time on this. Okay. Inshallah, this is some content I had developed, and we're just going to talk about one event from the seerah, from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The background of this is the Quraysh have made an assassination attempt against the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is able to leave in the middle of the night for hijrah. And the next morning is where my talk starts. So what happens is Ali radiallahu anhu goes to the Kaaba and he addresses the people and he tells them, any of you that have deposited anything to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, come and collect from me. And usually when we talk about this episode, what do we emphasize? We emphasize that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is so honest and al-Amin, he fulfills his responsibility, and whatever was given to him, he gives back. And it talks to the Prophet's integrity. And usually that's generally where we talk about this, we feel positive about it, we feel good about the Prophet's personality. But just this one scene is much deeper. And that's what I want to reflect on today, inshallah. So one is Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is honoring all commitments for any items that he was safeguarding. And the point here is, even while escaping the city, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is following through on all commitments. Now, who are the characters in this scenario? Anybody you can shout out, online or here. Who are the characters in this scenario?
The people of Mecca.
The people of Mecca. Who else? The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Even though he's not physically present, he's a character. Of course, Ali radiallahu anhu. Who else? The people of Mecca is true, but there are a couple of groups in Mecca. One are the enemies.
Bilal radiallahu anhu.
I'm sorry, Riaz?
Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Bilal.
So, Bilal radiallahu anhu is already in Medina. There's a silent majority. Those who like the Prophet, but they have not publicly proclaimed the religion. They're the people who are neutral, you know? And there are always guests in Mecca because of the Haram. So there are many characters that are in this scenario. It is just not the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Ali radiallahu anhu, and the enemies who were hostile to the Prophet. So we need to understand that. So when Ali radiallahu anhu is speaking, he's not just speaking only to the enemies. Major point we need to understand, okay? There are multiple audiences in this situation. Okay. Amarput mera pani pada de. So, what are the themes of this scenario? We talked about commitment and al-amin, right? What are some of the other themes in this scenario?
Dawah.
Dawah, excellent. And it's dawah to who? Of course, a silent majority. But it's also dawah to even the ones that are wavering. What else? What are the other themes? Any other ideas? Yes, brother.
Outreach to the new people who have never heard of him.
Very good. Dawah, outreach. So again, usually these are the two things we talk about. The Prophet is validating his title as the Alawi. And dawah and outreach. Excellent. But we'll go on. I have a question here. What does the Prophet delegating this specific responsibility to Ali radiallahu anhu reveal about their relationship? So again, this is only a 25-minute talk, but I do want everyone to reflect on that because there are many companions. And the Prophet never does anything randomly. The Prophet ﷺ never does anything randomly, yes.
He delegated Ali because Ali was protected by the social, covenant that he's the son of the ruler of the Quraysh.
Yeah,
and Ali is one of his relatives, so the responsibility is family responsibility, not only a person.
Excellent, excellent. And this is what I love. See, this is how we should be really thinking about the seerah in multiple dimensions, okay? His relative, he's young and healthy. His bond is unbreakable with the Prophet. There is something to be said about a 9-year-old saying, I believe in you, Ya Rasulullah. From the very early, so which means some of his formative years are still with the Prophet.
There is duties.
Okay. What is the connection between fulfilling responsibility and credibility? This we've talked about already. There is no such thing as integrity without commitment. I'm getting tired of this thing. People, it's being true. It's being paying your taxes. No, integrity is following through on all commitments, big and small. Integrity is just not being honest with your money and paying taxes.
There's no such thing as integrity without following through on your commitments. And Imam Ibrahim did address this yesterday, also from the member. Commitment, it's just not honesty. Just like Iman, it's just not faith. It's sabr and shukr, patience and perseverance, and thankfulness, I'm sorry, right? Okay. And of course, the Prophet is our teacher. What precedent is he setting? We know that one. And what is the significance of Ali radiallahu anhu mentioning this publicly? Because whatever things he has, goods or safekeeping that have been left with the Prophet, he could have just gone to them individually and said, this is owed to you, this is owed to you, this belongs to you. Yes.
He wanted, maybe one of the main points that he wanted to cut off any kind of side talks about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Did he deliver the responsibility or the trust that he has, or there will be always gossiping, and there will be always a lot of fake news, as we call it. And he wanted to cut it that because of that. He wanted publicly to say what he said.
Exactly. So declaring it publicly also takes a public position so that there can be no chirping, for lack of a better word, in the chat room. Okay? The issue's put to closure. Yes.
A meaning came to my mind that maybe also that when you address it publicly and somebody already deposited something to the Prophet and he would announce that in front of everyone, and he declares himself as an enemy of the Prophet. So it's kind of multiple authentication that if you already trusted him for your money and your things, then how you don't believe in him? So it's kind of, you approve something indirectly.
But he wanted to kill him.
Exactly. Okay. So these are the themes. So one of the themes here is leadership. The Prophet is displaying leadership. This thing is on the thing. I could do this. Oh, no, I can't. Because then the camera gets messed up, right? Okay, so much for that. Okay, inshallah. Okay, Imana, matters related to the deen. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
If you want.
a big part of the deen is amana, following through on all trusts and all commitments. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is making clear, even under the threat of assassination, he is following through on all commitments and trusts. Okay, next. Okay, this is a big one. Organizational development. The Prophet is building an institution. So even under the threat of assassination, he's delegating the responsibility, so it is still discharged. And that was one that didn't come up in our discussion. And me being an organization guy, this one is very close to my heart. This proves the Prophet's greatness. The Prophet is on his way to build a state in Medina. But you can see his delegating capacity. That even under the threat of assassination, leaving in the middle of the night, the responsibility is discharged. Responsibility is discharged. This is how you build institutions. So a big part of it is Prophet is also displaying. He's the Prophet. His status is unchallenged among the believers. But even then, he delegates. Even then, he delegates. Legacy, he's setting a standard for us. Everything the Prophet did, he's setting a standard for us. So these are just not stories that we're supposed to look at to feel good. This is the standard that we're supposed to try to follow and to emulate. Now, we'll never get there, of course, but we have to view these things through a standard, not feel good. So Very important on this. Okay. So the last, another major theme is public relations. Public relations. And now, because I'm using terms that are used in normal day-to-day business and organizational setup. So it's more understandable to our young people. Public relations. So this is a public relations movement, declaring publicly. One reason is not to allow anyone to claim that they gave something to the Prophet. He didn't get it. He didn't return it. Number two, he's also giving dawah and outreach even when he's leaving the city. He's left the city. That you know my character. My character's unquestioned. Even under the most hostile of situations and circumstances, I fulfill my responsibility. Another major thing, he's also poking the enemies in the eye. Just hours ago, you were trying to assassinate me. And with Allah's help, I've escaped. So from a political perspective, this is also a public declaration that the enemies have failed in their schemes. So we could sit and talk for an hour just on the public relations aspect of this episode. So let's go back to the audiences. So what does this announcement mean to the enemies? Your plan has been thwarted. What does it mean to the silent majority? In their heart, they're happy the Prophet escaped.
Yeah, that's an announcement.
It's an announcement. To the people who might be wavering or are guests there, I gotta meet this man. I gotta meet this man who in the cover of darkness left the city, and he's making sure this is taken care of. Only concern that should be on his mind is his safety.
Yep.
Only thing on his mind should be his safety. So again, when we look at the seerah, we should also keep a very seldom is a prophet ever talking to one audience. And if you are talking to multiple audiences, usually the messaging is different. And when we're studying the seerah, we should keep this in mind. What would this specific scenario mean to this specific audience, to this audience, and to this audience? So it will help us articulate ideas in a meaningful way in a modern context. So generally, when I was young, I was taught, okay, the Prophet left, and Ali will show his dedication by sleeping in his bed. Of course, that's all true. But this is about legacy. This is about reestablishing his standard as the Al-Amin. This is about building an institution and organizational development. This is about setting standards. And most of it's dawah / public relations. It's intellectual combat, i'taqab. That your most comprehensive assassination attempt in 13 years has failed. Oh, and by the way, the Prophet has fulfilled all his responsibilities. The person that you had gotten seven young men from 7 different tribes of noble ancestry to stab the Prophet at the same time. So in the remaining time, I would, if I was doing this in a workshop format, I would say, what are the key concepts? Okay, just go back. Okay, I would say, think about this now. Context, key concepts, lessons learned, and takeaways. We talked about the themes. And depending on your background, your age, you would benefit different ways. One, an example that you can think of that conveys or applies these themes, but not from the surah. Because to make it understandable, you have to be able to take the lesson and interpret it in your context. Now, inshallah, we will never have to escape in the cover of night from an assassination attempt.
Inshallah.
Okay. But when we read the seerah, we should sit back and then think, okay, this specific scenario, how does it apply? Because if you should, and now all scenarios, you're not going to be able to do that. But that thought, you should at least self-reflect. then you'll have a deeper understanding. And being Muslim, what makes you proud in this scene? Does this scenario help you to develop a further love of the Prophet ﷺ?
Sure.
A further love of the Sahaba? Are you more awed about the Prophet ﷺ's political maneuvering? Because the Prophet, obviously, he was a spiritual teacher, but he was also a statesman. Are you awed at how he can manipulate public opinion? At how even when he's leaving, without cursing at anybody, he's poking his enemies in the eye? So that scenario, it's a form of motivation for the silent majority who know he's a prophet, but they don't want to get tortured. For the guests who are coming as, let's just, as pilgrims to the Kaaba, they hear about this, because this is an event the whole city knows about, right? And like, imagine if you were someone who would come from an Arab tribe and you were Makkah at the time of this, you'd be thinking, wait a second, he left in the middle of the night, but that his deputy's here making these proclamations? What a fine, honorable character. And then at the same time, it's also a challenge. It's a challenge to who? Those that are attempting. You cannot outmaneuver the Prophet. And it was between your reputation and the Prophet's reputation, you will lose every time.
Mm-hmm.
You will lose every time. Don't get into PR battles with the Prophet ﷺ. You will lose every time. And even for some of the Sahaba who were, let's just say, shepherds, this is one reason that they also had such a love for him. So let's dig deeper. That not just the Prophet was all I mean, he gave everyone to show that he was trustworthy. No, the lesson in this is much, much deeper. Is much deeper. So inshallah, I'll end there, but I wanted to just mention, and this is important, if we go back to the theme, the themes. Yeah, here. We should, when we're reading the Sirah, we should say, okay, what is the message? What is the theme? And it's human nature to take the main theme and just say, okay, this is what the theme is. But like all things, just like the Prophet very seldom is only speaking to one audience, very seldom is there almost any situation where there's only one major theme. There are multiple lessons. And for us to really understand the Sirah in a deep way, we should be looking at, I don't want to use the word read behind the lines, because there's nothing like behind the lines about this. It's that we should be saying, okay, what we should be asking ourselves a question. What are the other themes? But this is why I've been mentioning for a year now, content analysis. Content analysis. So when we read the Sirah, we should be doing content analysis. So inshallah, that's my presentation for today. I mean, I found out about 9 o'clock or whatever that I would present. This is what I have come up with.
All right, Jazakallah khair, I appreciate you coming through for us. Let's give him another round of applause. That was great. And one of the things, we've heard this story since we were in Sunday school as children, but having that level of responsibility, even when things aren't really going your way, and having that turn to go positive for you. In June, I was getting laid off from this company, and I've been there almost 10 years. But because of the work that I had done, and even though I knew I was getting laid off, I was able to just kind of keep doing the work like I'm going to be an employee there for the next 20 years. And because of that, and having that level of responsibility and just doing things the same way every day, I think that kind of led to me being given a contract at the end of that being laid off term. So it's just, if you follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, you do things even when you don't really want to, and you fulfill your responsibilities even when things are tough. He was being assassinated, right? He wanted to be assassinated, but he still fulfilled those responsibilities. SubhanAllah, that's an example for us to follow and that we can apply in our lives. So the next portion of our meeting, we'll hear more about Brother Asad's speech from his evaluator, which is Brother Ayman, and from the first speaker, his evaluator, Sheikh Ibrahim, and during the evaluation portion of the meeting. But before we get to that, we've got some time for table topics. And this is for those of you that haven't prepared a speech and haven't been up here already. So Sister Noreen is going to ask you a question, and you're going to try and answer for 1 to 2 minutes on that question. And when you've gotten to 1 minute, when Brother Farhan is going to hold up the green, right? And for those of you that are online, you can go ahead and just kind of time yourself. And I'll stop the sharing so Sister Noreen will be able to see you. You ready to go?
Yeah. Do you want me to come here? This is on.
Yeah, I think it's off. You can turn it on. It's up to you if you want to. That way we can come up here and then I'll turn the screen that way. Sorry? I stay here? Yeah, I think that'll be good. You got it?
Hello.
Yep. All right. Yeah, that one's not working, so let me stop the share. Okay.
You can go there, you can just stand to the side so the people online can see you too. Is that okay with you? Yeah, as long as it's okay with you.
Whatever you're comfortable with. Yeah. Give a round of applause.
For having me as your table topics master today.
Yeah.
You're online, if you can please mute your microphone. Unless you speak, I can call you.
We cannot hear you. We cannot hear anything. Online, I don't know. We cannot hear anything.
To have the chance to relive 1 to 2 minutes.
Would you repeat the question, sir?
What is your favorite childhood memory that you would like to have the chance to relive?
Can more than one participant?
Yeah. Yeah, we can have multiple people answer.
I think she's a brain on.
I grew up in Aqaba City, and that's the beach of Jordan. To be honest, when I think about that, when I just start thinking about the memories that I had, I wish that I can go there again, and I can, because we used to go and play soccer, then swim, then go back and eat our breakfast, and then go back home, and that was something. When I think about it, I love to go back to that time and be able to practice that. So I'm very passionate to do that. Maybe I can do it once in the rest of my life, maybe more. I hope so. Thank you.
Okay, would anyone else like to share their favorite childhood memory? Yeah, please.
I think one of the good things that I always, proud of or like in my life, that I grew up for some time with close to my grandfather, who was living at the same house. My father used to work all day, like 2 shifts. So I spent all the time with my grandfather more than anyone else. And he used to tell me stories from Palestine before they flee in 1948. A lot of details and stories that, because we were living in a very humble, small house, And he was talking about the gardens and the, good views and scenic views of Palestine. That really encouraged me, or maybe improved my imagination about these things, that I draw pictures for these places that I've never been to, only from his stories. And we always were very close, that we wake up for Fajr, we go to the masjid together, we go to the market together, and he all the time while we are walking or sitting there, he's telling these stories to me. So these are the things that really connected me to Palestine more than anything else, that I really, always like to remember. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shower his soul with mercy, inshallah.
Anyone else want to share? No? Okay. All right. So Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, in my walks, everyone I meet is superior in some way, in that I learn from him or her. What is something we can all learn from you? So again, he said, in my life, everyone I've met is superior in some way, and that I can learn from him or her. What is something we could all learn from you? Come on.
We're gonna pick some.
Yeah, I'll start picking people. Who's that in the back?
Maybe online, if there is anyone who wants to participate.
Huh?
You
Online?
You muted them all. They can unmute themselves?
They can unmute.
Yeah.
Anyone online want to answer? What is something we can all learn from you? What about the brother in the corner?
I spoke.
You spoke? It's okay.
You guys.
I didn't hear you speak. I came late, so you come.
I'm not prepared.
No, you're not supposed to be prepared. What's something we can learn from you? Come on.
Nothing.
No, come.
What? Think of something.
Think of your kids. What's something that you try to teach your kids? Okay, fine.
I can participate.
Okay, fine.
I want to say this. I'm not afraid to be alone. Huh? Let me say that the main thing that maybe you can learn from me is Quran, because I'm passionate toward it. I memorized it when I was young. I also learned a lot how to recite, how to perfect the way of pronunciation and recitation. And also, I'm still learning, and I can teach what I learned from digging deeply and exploring the Quran. There is a lot of secrets that we all need to learn from the Quran and to implement in our lives. So I believe I have something that I can teach others. Thank you.
Something that you can learn from me or benefit from me is probably something with technology in general. Like, I know a lot of stuff about technology and like how to deal with stuff if you have like problems or something on a computer or a phone, and like I can help with that.
Stop over there. I'm coming to you next time. Anybody else? What about you? You're good.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
All right, so, okay, how about this one? Mark Twain is often quoted as having said, "I have never let my schooling interfere with my education." I have never let my schooling interfere with my education. Do you agree or disagree with this quote?
That's great.
Yes, brother.
I agree, because I believe in a statistic that I once read, that a student they lose around 70% of curiosity to learning when they join a school. Meaning that this is not negative for learning, of course, but meaning that when you go to a specific system, you are directed to learn specific things. And one of the good scholars said, never live your life having only one teacher. Have multiple teachers, because this is how you can diversify your knowledge, and this is how you can be free of any specific way of thinking or agenda that maybe a teacher or somebody want to oppose on you. So I believe that you should not really have this interference. You should learn from school, and you should also be open to learn or educate yourself from so many different sources around you, from people, books, television, documentaries, anything around you that you really can reach out, you can really take a lesson somehow and at some point in your life. Thank you.
Anyone else? I've never let my schooling interfere with my education. Do you agree or disagree, Brother Asad?
I agree. I think there's something constructive on it. Can I speak?
Yeah, please come.
Yeah, I already spoke, but this is important. There is an idea that there's
Remove your mask, please.
Oh, sorry. Okay, Bismillah.
Okay.
There's a lot of anti-intellectualism now in education. Even in the United States, people are being taught to study towards the test from a very early age, and it's reducing critical thinking. And in our society, our educational system is based on rote memorization. So I agree. Mark Twain said this 150 years ago, and unfortunately for the current generation, this is more true now than it was when he said it. Okay.
Okay, I think we have two more. Okay, is dealing with crisis a life skill that we should all learn? Or is the real skill just not getting into these situations in the first place? Explain why or why not.
Again?
Is dealing with crisis a life skill? Or should we all just not get into these situations in the first place? Is that the real skill? Is it the skill to learn how to deal with crisis, or is the skill not to get into a crisis? Yes, please.
I would say that it's the real skill is how to know how to deal with crisis, because you can't really avoid a crisis like that. Like any problem that comes into your life, you can't really avoid it, and you choose that it comes or it doesn't come. But it comes if you want it or you don't want it. But you need to know how to deal with that, and how to deal with it.
Okay, I think most people have spoken. Still waiting for this guy. Oh, he's gonna come.
I think the real skill is to learn how to deal with crisis, because there's some crises that you can't control whether it comes into your life or not. So you should be prepared on how to deal with those things. And yeah, I think you have to learn how to deal with crisis instead of trying to avoid it when it's inevitable.
Like Cristiano Ronaldo, so he's gonna shoot that ball.
I'm just gonna add my 2 cents. I think generally, as Muslims, what I tell my kids is problems are gonna come to you, right? Islamically, we know this life is a test. Problems are gonna come. You should not put yourself in a situation, where you're gonna have problems. You should make good choices. Don't hang around, have good company. Don't hang around bad friends. Don't go to bad places. Don't, I also tell them, what if, God forbid, you decide to go to a club and Allah takes your life and you're in that club, like you don't want to be in a situation that Allah would not be pleased with. But the tests are going to come, and definitely learning, Allah has given us the tools in the Quran and the Sunnah and how to deal with these kinds of crises, and we have to deal with them with hikmah. So problems will come to you. You don't be the cause of problems for others and for yourself.
So can we say try to avoid the crisis as much as you can, but
Yeah.
when it comes, you have to learn how to deal with it.
Exactly. Jazakallah khair, Imam. You can probably articulate it better like in the khutbah than I can. Okay, the final question, follow-up question, is describe a time that you were absolutely terrified, but you faced your fears and you made it through. Yes. Facing the fears already.
So one time I was really scared was when I went to Six Flags, and I had to get on like this rope, and I had to get like tight, and I was like super scared, like super high, probably like 7 story buildings, no, not story buildings, like levels high, and they would just like flick you in the air and you start flipping around. It was really scary, but I just wanted to do it and I did it, and it's not that bad.
Wow, good job.
I would never do that.
Anyone else? A time that you were terrified and you faced your fears and made it through. Yes.
So one time I was really terrified. It was a while back when I was like 6 or 5 years old. I was grocery shopping with my mom in Walmart, and I was lost, and I was so horrified because I spent like 10 minutes walking around the store in every aisle. So I went to the cashier, and she went over the microphone, and sorry, it was a really horrifying experience for a 5-year-old to go through.
So you faced your fear?
Yeah, I like went to the cashier.
Good job.
Found it.
That's it, unless we have anyone online that wants to answer any of those questions.
Getting a bad report card.
I'm sorry?
Getting a bad report card.
Bad report card? What, you got a bad report
I
card?
got one seat.
And you had to face your parents?
Yeah.
All right, anyone else? Brother Harris, you want to say anything? No?
Come on.
A time you faced a fear.
All right, I'll try.
Maybe when you are on the cycle or something.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guest. A couple of fears came to mind. The first one was when I was getting married. I got married kind of young, and I didn't know a whole lot about it, but I had good friends around me, and then I was also I was in school at the same time, Islamic school, so where I was learning about the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, how the Prophet ﷺ treated his wife. So that helped me kind of face my fears and get through it. And the second thing that came to my mind was what Anas was saying, but being on those roller coasters, and every time we have these Eid Fest around here, they have all these rides, and I'm like, my family always wants to go, and I'm like, no, I don't want to go because I hate those rides. One of my daughters really likes to kind of go on those rides. So I told her I'd go with her, and we got up there. I couldn't get off because she's 9 and I'm like almost 40. So I was just like, I'm just gonna say the Shahada, and if I die, I die, and I'll be okay. So that was probably a couple of times where I faced my fear.
Okay, so
I have an answer.
thank you all for participating, and I am going to call a general evaluator for the evening. For the day.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I hope you're all doing well today. Just a couple of negatives that I want to start out with was that we started our first speech at 11:47, but if you look at the agenda, there's at least 5 or 6 things before that, and we only did 3 of them. And we just can't be filling out the agenda like 5 minutes, like out of like 11:35. So if you can just try and sign up like before the actual meeting, because you have 2 full weeks. Because stuff like Wordmaster, and joke master, like I should already be filled. It was here, but the two roles that we didn't have were grammarian and timer, and those are very basic roles. Another thing is we need to get more speeches because I feel like it's hard to just like push somebody to do a speech like 20 minutes before it happens. And the reason why we're ahead of schedule is actually because there wasn't a third speech. If there was a third speech, we'd be way behind schedule. Another thing is that we need to figure out some like the technological issues. Like we've been doing this for like a couple of weeks now, so like we shouldn't be having trouble, making sure that everybody can hear through like the hybrid model. And some positives that I want to end off is that we had some good participation and some good speeches today. Both of them were pretty good, and yeah. Then I'll call up the evaluator for speech number 1.
That's me. Bismillah. So Brother Wahiddin Hanifa was the one who delivered the first speech, and I wanted to say that in general it was a good speech. I wish that he could have been here with us to deliver this speech. It will be very more clearer for us to understand all what he said. I wanted to say that the prose, he was very excited and passionate toward the topic. You can see that in his face and in his way of talking about that. The things that he can work on actually is get the audience engaged more. Maybe you can make some questions. Maybe you can start with a common question regarding your topic that has to do with the topic, especially when the topic is when you got your first job. So I think you can improve in that by getting them engaged with a first question to get their attention and impact of an interest in getting engaged with you and interact with you in the topic or in the speech. And that one of the main actually points that we all should do. Last thing is to challenge yourself of slowing down and clear the words more. So make sure that you're clear and you slow down when you talk. That would make it easier for the people, the audience, to understand exactly what you want to say and how to actually to be with you and to interact with you. With that said, that's all what I have. May Allah bless you. Thank you very much.
I'll call up Brother Heyman for evaluation on speech number 2.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you, Brother Azad, for bringing this very deep topic to the scene. Couple of things can help and improve. Something related to the organization, preparing the mic before the event could be done. And also, the presentation font was very small. It was very hard to me to follow. So if you can split the slides into more number of slides, this can help more. When you giving a presentation in a very short time, you can select one of the most effective presentation style in a short manner is to keep it fast, is to keep everybody engaged. Brother Asad tried to give some time for the audience to think, and he repeats some words for some times. I think this style is not the proper style for a short speech. Short speech need to be active all the time because it's only 20 minutes. If you give pause or repeating words, sometimes, maybe this is my feeling in this session. One more thing, that the topic itself is trying to think deeply in the seerah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and trying to implement it. Trying to implement the critical question that everybody of us is not giving the right time to think about it and how to implement it. So how to implement, how to get some examples from the real life, this should take at least 50% of the time. going back is important, but how to apply it is a difficult question that everybody is not able to implement it. That's it from my side. Thank you. Thank you, Brother.
All right, thank you for the two evaluations. Now I'm going to call up the grammarian or Anas to give us the counter remarks.
Just say how much each person had. So starting off with Brother Asad, he had about 2 ums and like and Kareem, he had about 13. I had about like 12. Brother Harris had about 3 or so. Umayyad had 1 or 2. Sheikh Ibrahim had 7. Brother Ayman, he had about 9, and first speech he had about 3 or 4.
All right, thank you for the counter analysis. Now I'm going to call the timer, Brother Farhan, to give us his remarks on the meeting.
Brother Mohit, the unit is like 5 to 7 minutes. Extra time was 5 minutes and 5 seconds, so it's within time. And Brother Asad is like 20 to 25 minutes. It's about 20 minutes, so he was under time. And table topic Twitter. Table topic is like Sheikh Ibrahim, it's about 44 seconds. And the second time was 45 seconds. And I don't know the other brother name, it should be like he won like, I don't know, it's a minute 20 seconds. I don't know his name. And Brother Asad was like 35 seconds for table topic. Evaluator Sheikh Ibrahim was 1.456 seconds. And then Brother Ayman, second evaluator is 1.42 seconds. So,
Thank you.
All right, thank you for the timer remarks, Brother Farhan. And now to close up the meeting, I'm going to have Brother Riaz unmute to give us his remarks. Brother Riaz, are you there? Closing remarks.
Hi. Hello.
Go ahead, Riaz.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Yes. Hi. This is Riaz here. Thank you for coming and attending the sessions. It's really amazing to hear all the speeches and all the youngsters participating is very, very nice. It's very good for ICW. Youngsters to participate in all the speeches. Really, I appreciate all the youngsters and everyone. Thanks a lot, and we can meet in next another 2 weeks. Thank you.
All right, Jazakallah khair, Riaz. I'm going to add a couple other things here. So, Aqil, I think you had your hand raised when we were doing one of the table topics. Would you like to answer it? We've got a couple of minutes. I'd like you to participate.
No, I was just gonna say for your like, how did you face your greatest fears one?
Tell us about it.
Well, so we went to Six Flags one time, and we went on this huge like tower. Like it was like really big. It was like you sit on like a chair and it takes you up, and then it just like brings you down super fast like that. And I was like, no, I don't want to go on it. I don't want to go on it. And then my dad and a few of my friends, they just took me on it. And then after I came out, it was actually really fun.
Thank you, Sister Noreen, for those wonderful table topics. I think you got everyone involved. Those are some good questions. And the point of these types of questions for this session of table topics is a little bit different than when we normally do it, was to try and speak for 1 minute. Many of us were not able to do that. So that's a skill that we need to have. The next time our boss asks us, hey, what are you working on? Or what's the project that you've been working on? Or your parents ask you, what did you do in school today? Don't just say nothing. Try to talk for at least a minute. And if you do that, you'll kind of make them happy, and it'll be better for you as well. You'll be able to remember. We had a great meeting, alhamdulillah. It wasn't as well attended as I would have liked, but I think we had some great content and we had some newer members that came by. Alhamdulillah, we haven't seen you since I think all of 2020. Welcome back, mashallah. How were you able to make it today, alhamdulillah?
Wallahi, I got encouraged by Sheikh Ibrahim.
Okay, that's great, alhamdulillah. That's
But
good.
I'd love to, inshallah, try to commit to coming over and over.
Okay, good. Yeah, inshallah, we'd love to hear from you. I mean, you and Sister Hada were a big part of, you're some of our founding members. It would be good for you to.
Winter is coming, outdoors activities are.
Closing. You found Kareem from the store.
We'll come here instead of going. No more trips in the weekend.
Okay, good. Inshallah. So we'll see you inshallah here in 2 weeks. And Kareem, thanks for participating in this. This was a lot of fun. Sister Noreen, we'll get some more sisters for you to show up. I think we had 5 last time, right? Iman was here, my daughter was here, Sister Asma and her daughter. So a lot of people were missing today. Did you want to say something, Sister Noreen?
Was munafiq the word of the day?
Yeah.
Can I speak on that?
Sure. Okay.
Actually, no one used the word.
Yeah, we didn't use the word of the day. And actually, when I was taking pictures, it kept coming up in the screen. I was like, man, I don't know if I can share this now.
I can grab this mic.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's really important as, a community that we understand this term munafiq. I don't know if when you were given the word of the day, if the definition of the Islamic definition of what munafiq was given, or the signs of munafiq provided.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to say it again anyway, so in case you forgot. So one of the signs is when he speaks, he lies, he or she. When he or she argues, they use foul language, they get explosive. When they're entrusted with something, they violate the trust. And when they promise something, they go back on this promise. And, we have a few young people online and in the room. And I think as Muslims, we have to really reflect on ourselves, right? We're always trying to make sure that we are not a munafiq, that we are, acting like upright Muslims. And a lot of times, it's hard to tell who is a munafiq, because even at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the munafiqeen, they would pray, they would fast. Outwardly, they appeared as good Muslims. And ritually speaking, anyone can do these things. And I think it's very strong in our culture. People are very strong on, okay, I do all my fasts, I go for Tarawih, I pray all my prayers. But a lot of times, these signs that the Prophet ﷺ was talking about, you can't tell unless you live with them. How are they privately? People don't go around exploding and fighting outwardly like in public all the time, right? A lot of times, you may have seen siblings or parents get angry at home, and maybe you see them get explosive. I'm not saying everyone who has anger issues is munafiq, but but those are things you don't see outwardly and openly in the public, and I think it's very scary. I've seen even women. There's women who outwardly they wear hijab, abaya, whatever, and at homes they mistreat their spouse, they mistreat their children, they mistreat family members, they lie, they break promises and things like that. You don't know a person, and I think there's a hadith by the Prophet, I believe it's a hadith, I don't think Umar said it, but the 3 ways you know a Muslim is you live with them, you do business with them, you travel with them, right? It was Umar, it was not hadith, it was Umar. Huh?
To know any human.
To know any person, you have to live with them, or travel with them, or do business with them. And I think it's really important as you young people especially, go through life, and you're getting to know people around you. You're going to meet all kinds of people, and some people will appear to be decent people, but until you've done those 3 things, traveled with them, done business with them, or lived with them, you really don't know a person. So yeah, I think this was a really good word of the day. It just brought up a lot of thoughts on my end. So just have to let me speak on that.
Thank you, Sister Noreen. So what we'll try to do for word of the day is always have the meaning on the back and the word of the front. So we try to remember to use it. And maybe in 2 weeks we'll use a less explosive word, inshallah. I'll put this down here. But so table topics, again, thank you so much for taking care of that and for doing that. We had a couple people that were a little shy to come up here. So we got this chat pack which has some random questions. And we got a couple of minutes. I am going to ask a couple of questions. Okay, so this first one's for Brother Ayman. This is good because voting season's coming up. If you had to come up with one question for a national opinion poll, what question would you most want to pose to the American public? If you had to come up with one question for a national opinion poll, what question would you want most to pose to the American public? Brother Ayman. Give him a round of applause.
I think this is a very difficult question, but if I have one, I will say, do you really believe and implement your US culture and beliefs? Are you implemented these beliefs inside US and outside US, or you have different rules and values?
Double standards.
Double standards. This would be my point. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Ayman. All right, the second question. If you could be the spokesperson for any product on the market, what product would you choose to enthusiastically represent? So, Omer, if you could be the spokesperson for any product on the market, what product would you choose to enthusiastically represent?
So this may be a little bit surprising to some of you guys, but the product that I would actually choose is Legos, because I almost always I watch speed builds for them on YouTube, and I'm always looking up sets to buy and all that stuff, especially around this time of year. And I just think that those are Legos are just they're the one toy that you can't really replace with a phone or an iPad, because you have the real thing in front of you. It's kind of like a Rubik's Cube, but the thing about Rubik's Cubes is that they have algorithms. So after you memorize it, it's not a brain exercise for you anymore. And I think that I could really enthusiastically represent Legos because I have I just have a really big passion for them, and I know a lot about them, and I know which set to get, which ones not to get, what type of sets to get, and all that good stuff about them. And almost everybody that I know likes Legos. I never really met a person that's I hate Legos and all that type of stuff. And they're really good for kids also, because it's good to get a set because that makes a kid think, but it's also good to just get some spare pieces and just let a kid build, because that can really represent what their personality shows depending on what they build. If they build a car, then that's one thing. If they build a sword, that's another thing.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Legos, right? A product that's loved by everyone and is a lot of fun as well. Awesome. All right, last question for you, Farhan. Sister Noreen tried to get you up here, but she failed. So I'm going to force you up here. But no, this is a friendly environment. This is an environment where you're allowed to make mistakes, and this is why we're doing this, to get more comfortable at it. So this is an easy question for you. If it's not, let me know. I'll pick a different one. If you lived on a farm, what chore above all others would you definitely not want to do? So if you lived on a farm, what chore above all others would you definitely not want to do? Let's give him a round of applause.
Obviously, I don't want to go out every day and do stuff farming. I could do all this, I mean, I was born in Burma, right? The farmer do they have to get the cow, everything together. They have to do all this kind of hard work. Honestly, don't want to do this kind of stuff. But this is the way you get mill, get all this crop, everything like that. But I really don't want to do this. So.
All right, taking care of the animals in general. That's great. Yeah, I know it would be very tough. So Anas was up here, I think 3-4 times, and Kareem's about the same age as him. Let's get him up here just to even it out. What do you think? Last question, Kareem. What is the best piece of advice you have ever received in your life? So Kareem, what is the best piece of advice you have ever received in your life, in your young life? What are you, 15?
No, 12.
12? Oh man, this is a tough question. Never mind. You want to try and answer it? We'll give you a different one. Okay. You lived on a farm. No, I'm kidding.
Where's the chat?
Of course, they receive a lot of advice, but they never memorize it.
Maybe we can ask that question to your dad. What piece of advice has he given you that you haven't listened to yet? You got one, Kareem? All right, come on up here. Let's give him a round of applause. He'll finish this off.
Okay. If you can uninvent any past invention, which one would it be? Okay, if I can uninvent any past invention, I would probably disinvent like on your phone, the notification pop-up, because it's really distracting. Like when you're trying to work on a homework project or something that's really important, you hear the ding and you open your phone and you spend like another 20 minutes. And then you put it down, I'm gonna be focused, and then you hear another one.
I love that.
It's like a never-ending cycle.
That's a good one.
Man, that was really good. Mashallah. Thank you, Kareem. So we'll go ahead. We'll meet again in 2 weeks. I'll wrap up. I'll let the president kind of finish his remarks. One thing that Omer said that was really good was to sign up on the agenda. So there's multiple ways you can do it, right? You can message any of the officers. You can go on our website, ICW Toastmasters.org. And for some of the newer members, you know, Anas and Kareem will add you to the website. You've got phones. You probably have email as well. So you can sign up for different roles and participate. We'll add you as well, Brother Ayman. Inshallah, you can join us again with your input is always valued. And you do a good job of evaluating Brother Asad's speeches, so it's excellent. So, Brother Asad, if you want to close us off.
Okay, Jazakallah khair everyone for coming. So it was great to have you join us, Anas and Kareem. You know, we really allow the young people to get involved, and the more that you guys want to speak, the less us older people will speak. Okay? It's a feature of our club. So don't come and claim that we lock you out and this and that and all that, okay? If you're here, we're gonna encourage you to speak, right? That's a big commitment that we made. It was great to have Brother Moeddin join us and see Brother Allah after such a long time. And alhamdulillah, I think the table topics were really, really interesting. So one announcement, inshallah, a week from today, we have a program here at ICW at 7 o'clock. So I would encourage everyone to come because one, it's basically a Toastmasters event. Like all the ideas that are going to be presented at that event, they originated at the Toastmasters meeting. One on microfinance, one on minorities living in the West, and one on inventions. Okay? So Kareem, what you said is actually going to be discussed next week, inshallah. The impact of the cell phone on humanity. Okay? So inshallah, Jazakallah khair for coming, and inshallah we'll see you hopefully Saturday at 7 o'clock, and then our next meeting is 2 weeks from today. Okay? Okay, assalamu alaikum.
Is the monthly program today or the next week?
Next Saturday.
Next Saturday.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح.